You're listening to Heritage Radio Network.
Welcome to One Bite is Everything, the podcast that connects every bite you take to the bigger world. Here we talk with all kinds of thought leaders who shape the way we eat, live, and connect. Because food is not just food. It's health, community, politics, and economy, all on your plate. Today's episode is definitely a little different. It's that time of year. And if you know me at all from real life or Instagram, you know Murphy. Instead of bringing you into a studio or a headline or even a kitchen, I want to take you somewhere quieter, somewhere slower, somewhere that in many ways holds the beginning of everything I do now. If you were standing with me, you would be just outside the barn. You would hear chewing before you saw anyone. You would smell hay. And if you waited a second, you would see Murphy. Murphy is my mini donkey. He's actually not that mini anymore. Today is his birthday. He turns 12. Happy birthday, buddy. That might not sound remarkable unless you know that donkeys live 40 to 50 years, which means if we're lucky, Murphy and I are still at the very beginning of our time together. That kind of timeline does something to you. It asks you to think differently about commitment, about patience, about staying. Murphy came to us in early July of 2015. He had been living on another farm with a larger donkey, a Jack, who was picking on him. Murphy was smaller and gentler. He ended up sequestered in the barn, separated not because he had done anything wrong, but because he was vulnerable. The farmers who had him named him Jesus, because he was born on Christmas Day. My daughter absolutely refused to call him Jesus. She named him Murphy, after the donkey in Shrek, voiced by Eddie Murphy, which, if you know that character, tells you almost everything you need to know about Murphy. Earnest, a little ridiculous, completely sincere. That Christmas, Murphy turned 2, and without ever saying it out loud, I crossed a line. Chickens are one level of commitment. Goats are another. But a donkey who might live 50 years is something else entirely. You do not casually get a donkey, even if you think you did. There's an old story about donkeys and Christmas. If you look closely at many donkeys, you'll see a dark stripe down their back and another across their shoulders, forming a cross. The folklore says that after carrying Mary into Bethlehem and later helping Mary and Joseph flee to Egypt, the donkey was marked with a cross as a sign of gratitude and blessing. Whether you believe that literally or not, the symbolism matters. Donkeys appear in the Christmas story not as spectacle, but as support. They carry, they wait, they stay. Murphy has always been like that. For a while, though, he was lonely, and loneliness looks different on a donkey than it does on a person, but you can see it if you pay attention. He paced, back and forth, a constant movement that said something was missing. We tried things. One summer in 2016, a cow stayed with us. Oh, she was mean. She did not want me anywhere near her. That was not going to work. Eventually, Clover arrived. Clover came from an equine rescue. She's 7 years older than Murphy. She was destined for slaughter because no one wanted her. She was shy at first, watchful, careful. Now, she's the boss. Murphy and Clover are almost never far from each other. They eat together, stand together, sleep within sight. This is not sentimentality. This is biology. A donkey mare will not even give milk if her baby is taken away. There's no workaround for that. No forcing it. That tells you something about bonds and about what happens when systems ignore them. People love to call donkeys stubborn, but stubbornness suggests defiance, digging in just to refuse. That is not what's happening with a donkey. A donkey stops because they are thinking. They are assessing whether something feels safe, whether it makes sense, whether it is worth the effort. You cannot yank a donkey into motion, and if you try, you lose them entirely. The only way to get a donkey to move is with gentle pressure. You lead them slowly, steadily, with intention. You never rush. You never pull harder when they hesitate. You stay calm, you stay present, and you keep going. Murphy will go. He always does. But he goes when the pressure is consistent, not forceful, when he knows where we are headed, when he trusts that I am not going to abandon him halfway there. Sometimes I take Murphy out on a halter outside the fence line. That alone is unusual in the donkey world, and he loves it. He lifts his head, he lengthens his stride, he becomes very aware of himself. Clover absolutely loses her mind. She runs back and forth along the fence, braying loudly, announcing to anyone who might be listening that something extremely important is happening. Murphy glances over at her, like, yeah, I know, you're impressed. That moment only happens because of gentle pressure, because we took the time, because we did not rush, because we moved with intention. I think about that all the time. Gentle pressure is how anything meaningful gets done, not just on a farm, in a life. Most big endeavors do not happen instantaneously. Instant success is uncommon. Makes for a good story, but it is not how things actually work. There are sticky spots, pauses, moments when nothing seems to be happening at all. That does not mean you stop. It means you keep going the same way you started. Gentle pressure, one step, then the next. Not yanking yourself forward, not panicking when progress slows, just staying with the work long enough for it to move. And then, when you reach the next task, approaching it the same way. One year, on Murphy's birthday, I decided I would make him carrot muffins. I was very proud of myself. I thought he would really like them. Murphy nearly gagged. He politely took a bite, and then he looked at me in a way that said, "Please do not ever do this again." I respected that. Today, he's going to get fresh carrots instead. There are lessons everywhere if you're paying attention. Donkeys show up all over our culture if you start looking. Yes, the Democratic Party symbol is a donkey. That goes back to Andrew Jackson, when opponents called him a jackass, and he embraced it. The donkey became associated with persistence, humility, and the common person. Across the world, donkeys have been work animals in agriculture, in transport, in places where machinery can't go. In many cultures, they are still essential. They're not flashy. They're reliable. That's what Murphy is for me. He's the anchor of my accidental farm, the reason this place stopped being a hobby and became a responsibility. Farmer friends encouraged me, goaded me even, but Murphy made it permanent. And that is why this story belongs here on One Bite is Everything. Because food does not exist without long-term thinking. Farms do not exist without commitment. And systems do not change without people willing to stay when things slow down. Christmas asks us to pause, to notice who is nearby, to take the long view. Murphy reminds me of that every day. So if today feels quiet or tender or unfinished, it's okay. Apply gentle pressure. Stay close to what matters. Do not rush what is meant to last. Thanks for listening to One Bite is Everything, the podcast that connects every bite you take to the bigger world. I know today's episode was a little unusual, but if it sparks something for you, remember, the stories you hear here do not end when this episode does. Through the For Farmers movement, these stories become action, supporting small farmers and bringing eaters like you closer to the people who make your food possible. It all happens with gentle pressure. Learn more at forfarmersmovement.com. You can also follow along for more stories and red flags on Instagram at XOXOFarmGirl. If you enjoyed this episode, I hope you'll take a moment to rate and review One Bite is Everything on Apple Podcasts. It helps more people find the show. One Bite is Everything. It starts on your plate. It has a big reach. It's a food podcast, and a politics podcast, and a health, community, and economy podcast because food touches quite literally everything. This episode was produced with sound design and original music by Russell Chapa. I'm your host, Dana DePrima. Happy birthday, Murph. And I'll see you here again next week. Until then, eat like it matters, because it does.